Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life, won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last. Mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, friends forever.
It's time for another conversation. Welcome to Making It Last podcast. I'm your host, Narendra. It's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people. Now, on this podcast, we try to deal with different types of relationships. So whether it is male, female, intimate relationships, work relationships, and not very often we actually deal with church relationships, which is an integral part, I know, of the lives of a lot of people. Now, for us to delve into that this time around, we have Pastor Sean Shepherd, and we've gone across on it. We're island hopping this time around. We've gone over to Dominica. We have Pastor Sean Shepherd. He is the pastor of three churches in the North Central District in Dominica. And for those of you who don't know, that's in the East Caribbean Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. This conference is he's stationed in Dominica, and this conference is actually spanned two islands, Dominica and Barbados. He's been a shepherd. He's been a pastor for 3 years. So it's interesting. His name is Shepherd. We're going to talk about the whole idea of shepherding. Hi, Sean. How are you?
I'm doing well, Miss Lily. It's a real privilege to be here and to be part of this discussion. I pray and hope that I could bring some, fruitful contribution to help develop our relationships.
Good. All right. So before we get into, people like to say, the meat of the matter, the whole idea of being a shepherd, because of course this analogy is something that God actually refers to in the Bible. So this whole idea of being a shepherd and of the congregants being a flock, let's set that as a base for this conversation. What does that mean?
Well, quickly, the whole concept of shepherd and flock. Jesus says that he is the good shepherd. Mm-hmm. Us being flocks, knowing that flocks need guidance, need somebody to provide, need instruction, need care, loving, all of this. That's why the concept of a shepherd so neatly fit into the whole garment of who God is. It gives God the opportunity of being the head, the leader, the one who instructs, the one who guides, the one who provides. And the 23rd Psalm, and that brought the view being a sheep, because a lot of us would like to be shepherds, but lead our own way and have our own reality. But being a shepherd, because God says that we are under shepherds, which means that he's the ultimate shepherd. And the sheep now, or the flock, gives the notion that we need care, we need loving, we need guidance, we need God, someone to do that ultimate leading in our life.
Okay. So what we're going to be talking about is how can the shepherd be nurtured so the flock can be fed. Now, a lot of individuals, yes, they, in their minds, the pastor, he's okay. And a lot is expected. And especially when you have three churches, I know that's a lot. So how do you think the shepherd or pastors, just in general, can ensure that they are nurtured so they can then adequately feed the flock?
Well, that comes, I'm going to make it clear here. Our job is, I think it takes 36 hours in a 24-hour day to do our job. So you could imagine, timing is something that a pastor don't have. And we as pastors sometimes have to deliberately hide ourselves away to receive some nurture. Because our main source of nurture, or any pastor's main source of nurture, especially when it comes to spiritual things, should be directly connected to God. It means that a pastor should spend time in his word, studying the Bible, praying extensively. I understand fully how how Moses could have, tell them people, why should I, that I could understand how Moses get to that point sometime, because being a pastor sometimes is really hard to lead sheep. Because sometimes they are not following and they like their own way, they go astray. And it could take a lot out of you trying to do the daily task of meeting people and not meeting your needs. But for us to meet, as pastors, to meet our needs, we have to spend extensive time with God. What I do, my timing is early in the morning, like about 3, 4 in the morning.
Okay.
I get up and I meet my God, I pray, I read my Bible, I get into any extra study. But mostly, for a preacher to be nurtured, they need to spend a lot of time in prayer.
Okay, so I'm sure there are different ways of nurturing oneself, but you touched on the whole idea of spirituality. How then, because I know that it can get to a point for a pastor where it is almost as if what you're doing is it's like you're operating on autopilot.
Yeah.
How then does one, yes, you might get up and you're still trying to do whatever works for different people, whether it is something, to start the day or to end the day, whichever works. But how then do you really push yourself to ensure you don't get to the point where it just feels like, okay, this is my job and I'm just doing this because I have to do this?
Well, that is when you have to check yourself. Because you can get carried away in almost any job, but being a pastor, you can get carried away. In the sense whereby people tell you, oh boy, you're preaching, that's a fantastic sermon. I like your leadership. And you see people following you and you see that you're being appreciated, and you can get carried away in it because you start to feel like, oh boy, I don't need anything else. I'm good. And that's when lately I'm a young pastor, but lately I start to realize that when I refuse, or when the mornings that I will get up late and I just jump and go on doing my stuff and forget to pray. And yes, I must confess, sometimes pastors do forget to pray.
Okay.
And I forget to pray and I go out on the road. I find those are the days that I struggle the most. I struggle to keep my appointments. I struggle to meet the needs of the individual that I'm reaching out to. And it's so easy to get caught up thinking that, oh yes, I have this. As you asked, it's a constant checking of oneself, not you being the forefront. Understand this is more than just a job that pays a salary. This is a calling, the souls of men and women, the sheep. In your hands, God says, Jesus says, I hire help when in times of trouble he runs, he get away from trouble and leave the sheep to get scattered. But when you are a shepherd, you stay, you fight to the bitter end, even if you have to give your life for your sheep. And that's where now you have to understand that you as the pastor, you don't have an option to run. Your option is to stand, to fight till the bitter end. If life needs to be taken, your life needs to be taken. That's your duty as the shepherd. And that's whereby now, when you understand that, you know that it's not about you. It's not about how good you could preach or what masters you have, a doctorate, or how many churches, but it's about you really knowing that you are second with God, and God is your very shield, your front, and everything about.
I know this is a conversation that I'm sure you've been enjoying. However, we need to take a short break and just get a word from our partners, and we'll be right back.
Are you struggling to become an effective communicator? Let Noreen Daly, the communications specialist, get you there. Services include communications consultancy, one-on-one coaching, public speaking and debate training, leadership and team building sessions, plus much more. Visit NoreenDaly.com for more info. Noreen Daly, redefining the way you communicate.
So, the whole idea of a branding strategy sounded so exotic and so fancy to me. But after having several conversations with Neon, I now have a clearer understanding. I am
sure of what my identity is, what it is that I want people to see Noreen Daly as. Thanks Neon, thanks Splint. Visit them at wearesplint.com.
Are you looking for one-of-a-kind products customized to suit your needs? Then shop at Trending Things, the place where customization is always an option. From personalized gifts to apparel, accessories, drinkware, and home decor, you name it, we make it. Get your favorite designs on any item for party favors, weddings, graduations, or any special occasion, all at affordable prices. What are you waiting for? Visit our website at trendingthings.com to order your trendy item today. Trending Things, bringing creativity to the things you love.
Welcome back. Let's continue this conversation because I do believe this conversation is vital, not just for those who are pastoring, but anybody in a leadership position. So, of course, usually in any context, we like to talk about the whole person. So we've touched on the spiritual. So how then do you try to nurture the mental?
Ooh. I must say that might be one of my biggest struggle. Nurturing the mental, because we are the one who do counseling. We are the one who listens to all the problems. We are the one who reach out at every mode. I remember I did a funeral for a 3-month-old baby.
Wow.
And when I came into Dominica, I thought that my calling was to bury people, because I was like burying people, sometimes 3 burials a week. And after a while, it was having like, I felt like, what am I here for? Am I an undertaker?
Wow.
And it started to play on my mind. I detest passing next to the cemetery. When I hear is a funeral, I'm called to preach, I'm vexed. And mentally, it started to impact with the way I reacted to my wife and the way I reacted to people, because it started to pull me down. You see, when I saw that 3-month-old baby, that thing tore me apart, because I'm wondering, what in God's green earth did this baby do to anybody that death have to take this child? And then it dawned on me that, boy, you need some counseling. You need to check yourself. So I started to talk. And usually, well, men don't like to do that, but I had to talk to somebody so that I could have gotten some comfort and also some release from all of the grief. And when people think that you are not, your family didn't die, or that people dying around you don't have any impact on you, that's not true. They once you are close in proximity with such activity, it has tremendous impact on your mental health. And I find that at points I start to worry about death a lot. Like when I'm gonna die, is it going to be like this? You go in the graveyard. I want to tell you, sometimes I'm scared. You go in the graveyard now, they're not keeping you for 10 years, because people are dying so quickly that they're digging up your grave at an earlier time. I remember going in and the person have not totally decomposed, and they're in a garbage bag. And when they put you down in the hole, they throw that person bone with you. So you're not even sharing the hole for yourself.
Wow.
And all of those things can be psychologically dreadful, especially to a pastor. As I said, constant prayer and talking to people, and don't feel that you know it all. And yes, I'm good. No, open up, talk to people, get counseling, get a release. And that helped me as a young pastor to really get stable. Because if you're not stable mentally, it is impossible to deal with persons that will need your support and help.
Okay. So we've touched the spiritual, the mental. We're going to the physical. So you're taking care of the physical body, Sean.
I don't want to lie.
Okay.
It's because I remember I started that our job is like a 36-hour day,
not 24
hour. It's hard to maintain your physical. I mean, morning you wake up, you have sometimes 4 o'clock devotions with persons or your devotion.
Mm-hmm.
You move to 7, you're helping your children, your family to get ready. You're at work at 8. You go all day, and then sometimes you have church at 7 o'clock in the night. That will end maybe at 10. And where I am is like about maybe an hour to an hour and a half drive to where I'm living, where I'm working. So imagine I'm finishing at 10 at where I'm working, and then I have to drive home. It says I get home till after 11. Then maybe there's some administrative stuff that I have to do that takes me away to 12:01, and I'm sleeping 2 to 3 hours a day. Trying to wake up back 4 the next morning to meet other commitments and appointments. And that's a life of 90% of fasting.
Wow.
And then when you take a day off, the members say, wait, the pastor ain't working. They're taking a day off on me? No. And it takes a toll on you. I had a slogan when I came into ministry. It's better for me to burn out than to rust out. And that hit me like a ton of bricks when I start to burn out. Because I was going like an engine, trying to please everyone, don't want to stop. And then it came a time when my body tell me this is enough. And it takes a lot physically from us. And to maintain that physical health, sometimes it is a definite challenge to do so. For me, I have some friends that walk in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to go and have a half an hour walk. Half an hour, you hear that? Half an hour. And try to hold that as my physical side to thing, but you have to eat right, because we believe in the vegetarian diet. Eat right. Eat a lot of foods that are more of rebuilding your liquid foods and your green foods to help to rebuild your body, and use vitamins. I lately, my wife, that I must thank God for her. She's one of my my unnamed doctors that are always checking up. I take my vitamins,
Nice.
drink your water.
Nice.
Even like during the day, like I will not eat all day, and then I will come home and get stomach problems. And she's the one that always there, to help. And so that's physically, it's hard, Sister Daly. I'm not gonna lie to you that I'm having a good physical, no. It's really hard to physically maintain yourself as a pastor.
So the conversation doesn't end here. We will continue next week. So that was just the conclusion of part 1. So join me again next week, where we will conclude this interesting conversation, because how many of us really stop to think that if we are not nurturing ourselves, how then can we impact others? We've always heard the saying, never pour from an empty cup. Join me again next week. This was Making It Last podcast. I'm your host, Noreen Daly. Until next time.
Sisters and brothers, friends for life, won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.